To be honest, I'm getting pretty sick of dealing with this thing. Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch.
You know just what we need around here. Range Rover loaded up, trailer empty.
Yeah, we're going to pick something up. I've been doing good lately too.
We got our massive pile of gravel out of here so we can get behind the car wash for the winter.
We got that Chevy Express tore down and gone. Sold a bunch of stuff, made a bunch of room. But as always, I'm my own worst enemy, and we're taking some of that room up. You know, I always buy the good ones. Just what I need. Another frickin' Land Rover. I really do need to stay off Facebook Marketplace. But this guy popped up in Minnesota, just a few hours away from us here in Iowa. You may be looking at it and saying, Joe, why would you bother? Well, if you're from the Midwest or the Northeast, this right here will give you an indication of why we bothered. That is right. We have what is essentially a rust-free D1 from the potato state. Iowa's the corn state, Idaho potatoes, and boy, this guy is pretty minty underneath. And being we picked this up with the trailer, pretty good guess to say it doesn't run. And with the ignition all tore apart, another ignition, everything tore apart down there, stuff cut down here. If I didn't have the keys in the title, I myself would guess that I stole this. But the gentleman I bought it from said it has a crank, no start, no spark issue going on. So we're gonna grab a battery and see if we can start to figure something out. This came out of an estate. The gentleman who was messing with all this passed away. So unfortunately, we don't know exactly what he did and we can't ask him, but I think we have enough bits to figure something out. We got boxes of extra parts right along with it. A junk seat switch. The guy I got it from replaced the crank sensor, and being it's not running, that obviously didn't fix the issue. I'm about 300% certain it's something to do with whatever we have going on here. But we're gonna get some power hooked up and just start troubleshooting this through. And luckily, because of the eco, a lot of this stuff is fresh in my head, you know, because apparently I'm just a glutton for punishment. Speaking of punishment, that ain't right. But we'll start off with our improvised key and see what we got going on. I guess we'll have to put an actual battery in there. All right, we switched to an easier key, but we got one issue I'm seeing so far. Got something missing up here. And then if we can get the sun out of the way here, we also have an issue, no communication with the ECU. And if we go over to our other disco and we turn the key on, you notice we get a check engine light. So, let's see what we got going on here. All right, so we're just gonna go back to basics first and check all the fuses, rule that out before we do anything else. Another thing I want to check is to make sure we got fuel coming. Do have that. It's not exactly new. A little varnishy smelling. We're getting closer. So we had two of the alarm boxes sitting down on the floorboard. I'm not exactly sure which one belongs with the vehicle, but the one that was plugged in has a number wrote on it. So I'm guessing this was from a junkyard. Pop the other alarm back on. Now let's see if that got us anywhere. And we'll go off. We got hazards going. Who hit the hazards? That's new. So I'm guessing we tripped the alarm. Let's see here. Look at what we have. We have a check engine light. Hazards went off. You got to be frickin' kidding me. Now, we're getting somewhere. It is almost popping off, but like I said, we have some old, terrible smelling gas. The only good thing about that is, if we look at the fuel gauge, we also have 0 of that old, terrible gas.
Hey y'all, I'm Noah Hicks.
Still smells old. I think we need to get that circulated through. All right, we have fuel getting to the rail, but I want to rule out a spark problem, so we're going to give her a little hit to see how it does. Ooh. Fuel is now the issue. So we're gonna check out what we got going on here back at the fuel pump. Look at how freaking clean this thing is. Not a spot. But we'll see if we got power here. Luckily, this guy came with not one, but 2 fuel pumps. And one of them apparently came from the coolest named junkyard ever. Frickin' Jalopy Jungle, if that ain't fitting. We'll give this one a shot. Can't forget the ring. All right, let's see where we stand now. No dice. Also no fuel. So unfortunately, our check engine light went away again. No longer with us. But I guess that's not so bad. That means we are losing power to the ECU, which is tucked away right here on the passenger fender and has over time turned out not to be the most ideal place. So I suspect we either have a problem with our wiring here. Where those guys are sitting, they can see some water, which water and ions are never a good mix. So it's either there, or we could also have an issue with that alarm box, which I'm guessing it's the alarm box, but that's gonna have to wait a few minutes because the Eco's gonna see a little action once again this weekend. So all good there. But we do have one thing to do before we go. And that is to tension/stretch the new winch rope we put on. We didn't do it before Moab, but essentially what we're doing is taking our Eco for a walk. We got it hooked up to the Range Rover and just have the Eco in neutral. And just rewinding the winch, and this way it has a little pull, stretch, and tension on it. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, it's in neutral. But what typically happens if you just let it pull in without any tension, the first time you go to pull on the winch, it'll kind of suck the rope in between the other ropes because it's not wound tight, and then it just kind of creates a whole mess. You start flipping back and forth with the rope. Just better to do this ahead of time. And now we're set to go. We can go get ourselves stuck. I don't think it's gonna be quite as fun as Moab with the Eco, but we are off to a little local event we go to every year. Used to be called Jeeps on the Mountain, but we kept showing up with a Land Rover. So it is now Mayhem on the Mountain. Not too often you get to go drive up and down a ski hill. And this is what we consider a mountain in Iowa. Just feather it in. Try and crawl it a little bit. Yep. There you go. You're gonna start climbing the passenger. Yep. Now cut it. Come back towards me. There you go. See, I told you it's Land Rovers on the mountain.
look at that in it compared to my big Jeep.
Land Rover.
It's a Land Rover?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Even in the morning.
Man, what a fun little event that is.
Taking this guy out to Moab and playing in a little bit of our local terrain.
Makes me remember just how much I love the Eco.
It's just a simple guy, but it works so well. The only thing that doesn't work well with me
Is mud.
we stayed out of the majority of it, but we still collected enough, which means we get the fun of cleaning it. That didn't work as well as I was hoping. We're a little wet. Order of operations. We'll slide this under first. And then turn it on.
That'd probably make more sense.
Much better. And now that we're done playing around while that guy soaks, I suppose we should get back to doing something productive.
Don't drop those. All the connectors look like they're in good shape, but we'll pop this guy open. It looks like it may have been replaced or something at some point in time. It's got a sticker. It's got a tag from 2002. This guy looks to be in pretty good shape on this side. Well coated, no corrosion at all. Kind of smells burnt, but that's normal sometimes opening stuff up like this. And we'll take a closer look, but I'm willing to bet corrosion is not the problem. Now, if you haven't ever used a sprinkler for this purpose, this is the ticket. To getting the undercarriage cleaned out, it sure beats a pressure washer spraying back at you. This just kind of melts it off, although depending on where you live, it may kind of piss the neighbors off. All right, so if there is something wrong inside there, it is nothing I'm gonna be able to fix. But what I am gonna do is just slightly tweak all the pins in here. That way we make sure everything is making a good connection. And just what I want to be messing with still, the frickin' press brake. Today's video is a little random. We're doing a lot of catch-up stuff since getting back from Moab. Langmuir sent me out a new control board. That came while we were out in Utah. To be honest, I'm getting pretty sick of dealing with this thing. So hopefully this is the ticket. And lucky for us, we get to play repairman on a brand new machine. I think this is my last shot on this guy, and after this, they can just come grab the thing. Well, we got our little mess sorted out in there. Old one out, new one in back there. I think I'm gonna do a little cable management and reroute some of the stuff they have just to clean it up some. But other than that, all we have to do is get the screen back in place and cross our fingers, I guess. All right, so I just ran this a bunch of times. So far, it is running better than it has run so far. I've done like 5 simulated bends in a row here and it hasn't faulted out yet. It has not done that in the past. Do one more just to see. So a lot of times it would fault out on the retract here. Or say if we were home in the machine. When it goes all the way up to its upper limits, it would have a max tonnage error, and it has not done that yet. And once again, it worked. Another thing it hasn't done is gone to machine status unknown. It does that quite a bit. So I believe we may be on to something. Only thing I noticed is it is having troubles booting up again, where you have to do the power cycle a couple times to get it to go. We had that right off the bat when we got it as well, but that was fixed with a software update. So I'm wondering if we need to do another software update because the new one may not have the latest revision. So I'll reach out again, but here's to hoping we can actually start bending some stuff on a reliable basis. I also found a TSB that is similar to the issue we're having on the new Discovery. It lays out which pins on which connectors to check. Apparently there is a problem with them being loose and not making the proper connection, so we'll try that. But that is going to happen at a later date. We have another trip to make. That is right, we are finally putting the little Rover Ball adventure to an end and taking our loaner Defender back, grabbing the Freelander. So the Range Rover is gonna go to Ohio, but we had to borrow Ted's trailer because it has a little more room. Not only are we going to Ohio, we're traveling right on through, going to New York because we have something to grab. More on that next time. But either way, I appreciate you guys watching, appreciate you subscribing, and we will catch you on the next one. And you'll see a little more of this combo on the road. Man, I missed the Freelander. That's nice. All right, set you back up. I don't know why you fell off.